Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic week of racing here at the Road and Plate Series. We are Road America, returning to road courses. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that it's starting a little bit closer to the candle. We're going to jump right into the first heat. We had some technical difficulties, but we are getting underway immediately. We have not missed any of the action yet, so don't get too upset. We are about to go green on the first heat race here. As the line launches out, once again, want to say thank you so much if you are here in YouTube and Twitch, watching Road and Plate Series here on iRacing. This is going to be an exciting race here as we go around one of the world's fastest road courses here at Road America. Everyone, if you're in chat, say hello, let us know who you're rooting for, and if you hear any issues with audio, let us know ahead of time here. Just had to do an entire restart of everything because of a really disturbing crackle. You guys would have hated it. But here we are. As you can see, things are already kicking up very quickly underway. Johnny Rapp currently leading here, followed by Richard Lucky and Chris Lucky. Then followed by Dan Ott in the 29, Evan Hubchak in the 7, Devin Jack in the 49, Mark Royce the 44, Chuck Labano 346, Dustin Bally in the 24, and Levi Powell in the number 3. That takes out your top 10 there. Some changes have happened here and there so far, but mostly a lot of the same. Mark Royce is up 5 positions so far already in this heat race. Down 8 is Brandon Brush in the 41. We've seen him do some pretty incredible stuff here already this season. He won the season opener, so it's a tough start for him so far, but this is only the heat race. There's only 13 minutes to go in this heat, so anything can happen, anything can change at any time. Johnny Rapp, we've seen it before. He's definitely looking for a bit of reconciliation, an opportunity to prove that, you know, he's been wronged. He's a contender. He's a guy who should have been fighting for wins all along. And oh, he overshoots it just a little bit there, but this is not irrecoverable. He's still holding it strong against Richard Lucky. Doesn't give it to him. And Johnny Rapp's gonna just barely kind of hold on to it. They're side by side here. Johnny gets sent out to the side. He's gonna need a good exit here, pull up alongside the 61 there, 51, sorry, of Richard Lucky. Richard Lucky last week won the heat race, and now here he is contending for another heat race win. Did not have as great of a time during the feature, caught up in some incidents. Oh, speaking of incidents, Richard Lucky's around. And this is gonna stay green. Wow. A lot of damage to a lot of people, including Johnny Rapp. He did not face that unscathed. He did get into him, but he's not gonna be the one benefiting from it. Chris Lucky instead, Richard's brother, is gonna drive away with it for now. Oh, wow, just incredible stuff there. We're going to have to keep an eye out real quick, but I want to go back and take a moment to try to look at this from the moment it happened. I mean, we saw it pretty clear. Johnny Rapp just really got loose. And unfortunately, he's going to catch Dan Ott there as well. Dan Ott's going to eat way too much of that. As you can see, Johnny Rapp did not get out of it. He did not get away. Unfortunate situation there. You know both those guys. Johnny definitely beating himself up on that. Even so, we're taking a look here. Evan Hubchak is quite a ways behind our leader, Chris Lucky. He's got about 4.5 seconds sitting behind him, but we have a pretty tight contention after that. Mark Royce here, the 44, Devin Jack in the 49. Immediately followed up by Chuck Labano, Dustin Bally, and Levi Powell. This is a pretty tight pack fighting for contention. We see it back here as well. Had to take a look, saw the timing tower showing some real close racing. Look at these guys. Tom Wendt, Laura Wiseman gaining back some ground she lost. All getting around Benson Weaver. As it looks like Dan Ott is just behind Benson Weaver there. Oh, Laura's gonna oversend it. Laura Wiseman coming back on the track back there. Manages to not tag anyone. Johnny Rapp gets around just fine. And we're back on it. Back to the grind for Laura there. Head back up to this front pack here. The guys from about 4th place on down to 7th, running pretty tight. All fighting for valuable real estate, valuable positions here in this heat race. If you're unfamiliar with how the Road and Plate series works, this is the setup race for the feature. The only difference is that the top 10, obviously everybody's here is racing for points. There is a championship to contend for here, and everybody's going to be trying to get the best position possible. But by the end of this heat race, the top 10 will be inverted. That means number 10 will go to number 1 to start the feature, number 1 will go to number 10 to start the feature, 11 on back stay exactly where they finish in the heat race itself. So there is a lot of advantage to doing very well here, but it's not the end of the world to not get the win in the heat. It could end up being the difference between you winning the feature. Take a look here as we look throughout the field, kind of see what everybody's up to. Tom Wentz trying to close in on the set 27 of Steve Loving. Dan Ott right behind him, trying to catch back up here after being caught as a innocent bystander in that wreck. Johnny Rapp just behind. Ooh, a little bit of a lockup there from Dan Ott, locking up them tires. Johnny Rapp a lot looser, a lot more comfortable just sliding into that turn. He's going to get right to the bumper of the 29 as we see that Tom Wendt relinquishes some positions there. We're going to stay with Johnny Rapp here for a moment. He was obviously in a really good position to be leading this thing. He's now trying to work his way back up as we catch him passing Dan Ott right here. Let's see the control and see how he fires off of this. Really, really comfortable getting back into it, getting himself back up there. Here we're on board with Heaven Hubchak, the number 7 in 2nd place. We got Chris Lucky, still daylight out there, the 77, 5 seconds ahead, basically, of Evan Hubchak. It is not a foregone conclusion. Anything can happen. He could oversend it. He could get a little loose. Evan Hubchak, we've seen, is able to run people down. So this is not the end with 6.5 minutes to go here in this heat race. Anything could happen. So we move back here. Chuck Labano up 9 positions. Just ahead of him is Mark Royce, who's up 9. Sorry, Chuck Labano's up 5. Mark Royce is up 9, the 44. Devin Jack up 5 as well. Looking to close in on the 346. He gets just a bit sideways there. Isn't able to get quite a good exit on that turn. Dustin Bally just behind him there at 24. You know, I gotta say, we did some more graphical tweaks this week. Try to make things look real pretty, real top tier. And I'm thinking it's looking real nice on here. Devin Jack. The 49, we've seen Devin do some really good momentum throughout this season so far, inching himself towards the front. Especially we've seen on some of these road courses here, really coming out as a bit of a surprise. Oh, Dustin Bally we saw completely sideways there. That might give Levi Powell just a little bit of an opportunity if he can get a little bit of a run here on the 24. And Devin Jack is to the back of Chuck Labano now. And kind of waiting to see if he'd be able to get there. Question now if he's going to be able to pull off the move, get around that 346. And look, he edges in. Oh, they're both around. And that is why we did not leave these guys visibility. They were racing so tight. He tried to nose him in, came down, and both guys spin. And they're going to try to keep going, but who's that just behind Devin Jack now? Johnny Rapp. The 52 has an opportunity. He's inside the top 10. And keep in mind, we got 3.5 minutes to go here. If he ends up finishing in the back of this top 10, it's going to put him at the front for the feature. Dustin Bally and Levi Powell are trying to pull away. Brandon Brush as well, scooting by that. Look at Brandon Brush here flying up on the 24. Really comfortable going into that turn, and he's right to the back of the 24, straight out of the corner, matching Dustin Bally's pace, keeping with his momentum. You gotta think that that 41's looking for a door here. Any window, any opportunity at all that lets him get past that Fortnite, Sega, Combo, Menards, whatever machine that Dustin's driving there. Sideways, but still has a pretty good fire off, and he's right to the bumper of Dustin Bally still here. Oh, Dustin very loose. Dustin throws the block. Brandon's not quite able to get the pass. Dustin throwing the block just in time, but he's still going for it here. No, he's going to get a little buyer's remorse, fall back in line, and try to do it again. Oh, and there it is. Dustin overdrives. Brandon just had to wait him out. Dustin Bally not having a great time at Road America. He's a previous winner in other series here at Road America. Having a bit of trouble here in this heat race. Sends him back to 7th, and he is being encroached on by Chuck Labano. 346 there, trying to get past him as well. You can see Chris Lucky is almost 8 seconds ahead of Eben Hubchak. Oh! Levi Powell off track. That's going to shuffle things up once again. He falls back in line, but Devin Jack is zooming. He feels the pressure from that 52 behind him. Devin Jack does not want to lose any more positions than he already has off of that spin, that collision that he had. On board now with Devin Jack in that 49 Ford. And there's Johnny Rapp on his outside. Oh, inside pass on that one. Beautiful move by Johnny Rapp. Really comfortable in that corner. Just took it with everything he had. He's going to advance here. And now he's looking for that number 3, Levi Powell. Meanwhile, Chuck Labano eyeing that 24. Blood in the water. The 24 has not been having a great time so far here. This is another spot the 346 can pick off, get himself some points. We're seeing some spacing out around here, trying to stay with the closest action. It's really just this pack right now. There is a bit of a fight happening. We're going to drop back. Looks like Dan Ott right on the back of Steve Loving here in the 27. The 29. Itching to get himself back up and around. We're on board Steve Loving now. The 2023 PRL Truck Series champion. Huge accolade to his name there. You ask him, he doesn't really feel comfortable on these road courses. He still goes out there and gives it everything he's got. And Dan Ott really trying to recover what he's lost here so far. We look ahead here, Sam Stoner, it's a name we really haven't said yet. I mean, we're gonna have to look back to Long Beach just about 3 weeks ago, but 2 races ago. That road course race. As they're coming to the white now, it's gonna be one more lap here, I do believe. Oh, are we calling it checkered there? It is. I am not good at counting these these times down. Chris Lucky wins this. Chris Lucky wins the heat race. Evan Hubchak, Mark Royce, Brandon Brush, Sam Stoner. As I was saying, he was leading. He led every lap at Long Beach. Ran out of gas just a couple of turns before the finish. Was not able to take home that race. But here we go for Chris Lucky taking home the heat win here. And you can see the results there in the timing tower. And this is going to change things quite a bit. Steve Loving got himself into 10th. That's going to put Steve at the front of this pack. And I do believe that's exactly how it went at the last road course as well. I could be wrong about that. Johnny Rapp. We talked about it. Him angling himself, getting himself into that top 10, even that lower end. That was going to do very well for him. He's now going to start on the front row. Levi Powell, Dustin Bawley. That'll be Chuck Labano, Sam Stoner, Brandon Brush, Mark Royce, Evan Hubchak, and Chris Lucky. And during this warm-up period, gonna go ahead and see if we can talk to our heat winner, see if he's available, we can catch him on comms. Chris, Rain Broadcast, you got me?
Yeah, Rain, I got you.
Hey, man, well, congratulations taking home that heat win. We talked a little bit about, I'm pretty sure that was last week. My weeks are all messed up right now on where everybody was, but I think it was last week because that was the week that that Richard first joined, and we were talking about you guys having up there in the top 3 sitting on podium. Well, you've taken home the heat race now. How's that feel?
Feels good living on the podium so far. So getting some points, and you know, better to be lucky than good in that one.
I'd have to agree. Now, obviously, right at the beginning, we had a little bit of an intense battle between Johnny Rapp and your brother Richard. As Richard was out there leading, Johnny got real loose, collected Richard. Both of them got sent back, caught Dan Ott as in the process. What was going through your mind as you saw that happening?
I just had to keep my foot in it. I didn't know if they were going to bounce off the wall and collect me or not, but I knew if I made it through, it was going to be smooth sailing to the finish. So just got lucky.
Well, I'd definitely say, but I mean, there was definitely not a whole lot of luck involved after the fact. You were putting some time on Evan Hubchak, and Evan is no slouch. At one point, we were watching you about 4 seconds ahead, finishing almost 8 seconds ahead of him. Really incredible driving by you. How you feeling starting now in the 10th position, trying to work your way through this to see if you can come out and win the feature?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Hopefully everybody got all the wrecking out of their system. We can get through the first lap and then go racing. I think I can maybe get up into the top 5, but I don't think I'll be able to win this one from way back there, so we'll see.
All right, Chris. Well, good luck to you. Let you go back in there and strategize this last minute. That's Chris Lucky, the 77, winner of the heat race here at Road America. I gotta tell you, that finish snuck up on me a little bit there. I genuinely thought that they were crossing past when they'd crossed before the timer had expired. So I thought we were getting one more lap. I didn't bother running up to the front. I just mistimed it entirely. Apologies to Chris Lucky on that, but we are going to, you know, we took the chance. We went and talked to him anyway. It'll be all right. He had daylight. He knows he had daylight, right? Well, we're going to get ready here. 10 seconds left in the warm-up, and we're about to get started on the feature race. Brock Ulrich says Team Benson. Not going to lie. Benson Weaver, the number 1 referring to there. Benson Weaver, speaking of Benson Weaver, is currently sitting at, if I can count, that'd be lovely, 15th. Has had pretty good movement so far here tonight. At one point, Benson was pushed pretty far back. I saw a couple of times showing that he went off track. And I mean, despite all of these setbacks, coming back, getting himself into 15th, and now starting back there. Very good start here for Benson Weaver. Thank you for calling out. We love hearing you guys talk about your favorite drivers. Always do that. We love shouting them out. They need your support here. As we said, this is going to be interesting. Steve Loving and Johnny Rapp are going to start on the outside, on the front row here. And that's going to be Levi Powell and Dustin Bawley, Chuck Labano and Sam Stoner. Now, you know Sam Stoner's got a chip on his shoulder, and we've seen him do really incredible stuff when he's out of front, being able to run people down. We're going to have to see if he's able to accomplish it this time here as well. As we get ready to go here in our feature, the pace car is pulling off. And it will immediately pull off into the pits, and we will be going green. There is no pace lap here. It's about to get started. There he goes. See, you gave me a heart attack. I'm like, man, he's about to make me a liar. And the green flag is waving. They're going. And Johnny Rapp is going to fire off. Dustin Bawley firing in just behind him. Steve Loving trying to stay even. Johnny Rapp's going to clear him, though. See the rest of this field as they come in. It's real bunched up right now. A lot of lines, a lot of formations. Looking at our heat winner, Chris Lucky, falling back a position. A lot of stuff shaken up very quickly here. Look at this pack. See some tires locking up. Laura Wiseman gets a bit locked up. Looked like got a bit into Devin Jack there. They both managed to avoid catastrophe. Chris Lucky and Evan Hubchak side by side. Chris Lucky's gonna take here. And slowly it looks like we are starting to get back into a line. Tom went off track there. It looked like he went around a little bit. He's back in. Went off track a little bit there. A bit of a rough start, but it is not the end as we've seen. There's Benson Weaver. Benson, the Team Benson people get a little excited here. There's number 1. Chris Lucky has gone around. He's going to try to rejoin here. Tom Wendt going by. We've had a bit of trouble already, a bit of a dust-up. Dan Ott. Oh, Steve Loving's gone off track as well here, we just saw. He's going to park it and let everybody get by him. Not safe to rejoin yet. There are so many close battles happening. We're trying to jump all across to see what's going on, but there's just It's so tight in so many places right now. Do a bit of a rundown here. We're taking a look. Devin Jack passing Richard Lucky. Richard not wanting to give it up. We've seen that he'll try to hold off. Brake lock up in front of him from Dan Ott. These two not really willing to give an inch. Richard Lucky fades in, gives the position over. Devin Jack still staying tight to him though. Take a look here. Johnny Rapp still comfortably leading. Dustin Bally not too far behind. Sam Stoner trying to eye and run down Dustin Bally here in that 65. The 41, Brandon Brush. The 3 of Levi Powell. Chuck Labano, Mark Royce, Evan Hubchak, all real tight with each other back here. More love for Benson. Benson Weaver, he's up 2 positions in 13th so far. Oh, he just got a little bit of a spin there. It's all right, he spun it around. He's gonna get himself back on track when it's safe. And there we go. If it's one thing we have seen Benson do, there have been a couple of times we've seen it. It's tough on these tracks. This is a very fast track to drive on. Everybody is running at a top pace. Road America is a fast track. And people are loose, they're sliding everywhere, they're fighting for position. As you can see, I mean, these guys fighting up in the top are getting all over the place. It is not hard to go off very quickly. It's all about, I mean, if you can get back on, get some of that speed back under you, I mean, you can catch up. Anything can happen. Levi Powell is tight to the back of Brandon Brush there in the 41. We're getting a pass here. Looks like trying to. Chuck Labano out in front of the 3 of Levi Powell there as well. Trying to just kind of stay on with what we see here. There's a really tight race happening in this group right here. Not a lot of changes I'm seeing on the outside. Trying to keep an eye on the score tower. Bring the most compelling part of the racing as it happens. Dan Ott, again, catches a little bit loose. We focused on him there for a moment. He catches a little bit of grass, swings a little bit, has to regain control. Been a couple of times it looked like he might have been able to get a run on the 7 of Evan Hubchak in front of him. Just isn't quite able to do it. A lot of overrun by guys there, all falling in line, following each other through the grass. Chuck Labano ended up going off track. He's lost some positions here. The 3 of Levi Powell and the 44 of Mark Royce have gotten around. Oh, Levi's gonna send it a little far. Mark Royce is gonna capitalize. Look to the inside, pass on the outside. Levi's gonna hold strong though. That 3 not wanting to give up too much. 346 gets a door shut on him. Oh, Chuck Labano sends it in. And he's going to force the 3 to go wide. Just behind him, Evan Hubchak trying to gain a little bit off of what the 346 did. It looks like he might. Dan Ott also falling in that line. He saw it was a bit successful trying to do it, but Levi's not giving up just yet. Still trying to hold strong to those positions. Oh, that is a tight bunch right there. Oh, that is a tight bunch right there. I believe it was Richard Lucky went off track there. Not a great time for Richard Lucky right now. He's been trying to recover ever since the initial debacle, the tangle that happened in the heat race from our current leader, Johnny Rapp. And look at how tight racing these guys are. Steve Loving reporting technical issues with his wheel. Looks like he's out. He is currently in pits. Gonna be out of the race here. Unfortunate stuff. And I gotta say, really impressed with Levi Powell here tonight. He's shown some tenacity. Not to say he was ever a slouch, but I mean, in these situations, really been pushing to try to hold people off, fighting back for positions, getting himself in good spots, trying not to get into a bad situation himself. Not bad for the number 3 so far here tonight. Currently sitting just on the cutoff of the top 10. Sam Stoner's fallen a bit back from Dustin Bally here. Dustin's still within eyesight, but Brandon Brush also has a view of Sam Stoner. You see Dustin Bally, though, making up slight time on the leader. Johnny Rapp, and I see support now for Sam Stoner in the 65. If there's anybody who can do it, it's going to be Sam Stoner. We still got 25 minutes left in this thing. Anything can happen. Johnny Rapp, I mean, not praying for anything, Johnny. We know you've had a rough go of it trying to get back into a win here. But Johnny Rapp, anything could happen to him. I mean, Dustin Bally, the same thing. Anything could happen. Sam could just find the ultimate line and just start cutting down on their time. But we do know that Sam is looking for justice, for retribution from his loss at Long Beach. And this pack's still real tight with each other. Haven't quite broken up. They've just been trading positions all race long. We're going to take a moment here, just for a second, as things have kind of calmed down. Nope, never mind. There goes Evan Hubchak, getting a deep pass on the 346, and Chuck Lobato. Chuck Lobato's done spun, he's around. And that is going to be really unfortunate for the 346. There goes Laura Wiseman, he spins it again. Trying to get back on track, isn't able to. Tried to fire off. Evan Hubchak slots himself into the top 5. And with that, we now go to a bit of a crank it up. Levi Powell looking to contest. Devin Jack here, the 49. Devin locks it up a little bit, goes a little wide. On board now the 3. What he sees just behind that 49 of Devin Jack. Right now we have some pretty even gaps around the track. Except Mark Royce, who is now going off pit road. I have to wonder if so, what's happened there? That was a scheduled or a needed pit stop by him. Sit here with our leader, Johnny Rapp, for a moment. Just to see how he's handling this course. He's definitely put a little bit of gap additional between him and Dustin Bally, but Dustin Bally's still hanging in pretty strong. Sam Stoner not too far behind either. Coming up on just 20 minutes to go here, left in this feature race of Road America in the Road and Plate Series, here on iRacing. Ball back with Sam Stoner now. As you can see him, that Fortnite machine is in a realistic position, only 2 seconds ahead. We've seen Dustin make some mistakes in the heat race. I think Sam only needs one in order to capitalize and get himself into second position. Maybe contend for the win. Chris Winslow and Chris Logan, a new name I'm saying here tonight, the 70, up 4 positions in 13th currently. Chuck Labano has gone down pit road. He's now coming in. Current biggest mover of the night is Richard Lucky in the 51. Had a bit of a rough time there in the heat race, was leading it, got spun, ended up not being able to finish the race. He's all the way up to 9th right now, up 9 positions overall. Just behind him, Laura Wiseman up 2 positions, rounding out the top 10. Strong running for her so far as well. I see Tom Wendt and Benson Weaver, both down pit road. And it does look like it is going to be a requirement, I'd imagine, with this many people coming down. We're going to have to see when the leader, we're on board now, Johnny Rapp, decides he needs to bring it in. Not just yet, neither does Dustin Bally. Sam Stoner also hanging in there, Brandon Brush. Dan Ott, though. Dan Ott is going to elect to go down pit road now. Richard Lucky as well. And Laura Wiseman behind him. It's a crazy little sound effect it makes, doesn't it? Chris Logan a little bit sideways there. Tail got out from behind him, managed to recover it. Mark Royce trying to chase him down. Mark Royce, the fresher one out here so far. Gonna try to cut his way up through this pack. Chris Winslow also down pit road now. And the 70 will yield the position to 44. Obviously much, much faster Mark Royce. Much fresher stuff. And he's catching those guys coming out on their fresh stuff now here on pit road. It's going to get a little competitive back here, that's for sure. Devin Jack and Levi Powell still really close to each other here. Gunning for those positions, 6th and 7th. You have to wonder who's next to come down. We saw Dustin Bally lose a little bit there. Said it before, Sam Stoner, he only needs one opportunity to start making up that ground. You have to wonder if it's worth prolonging, if they think they're going to be able to do this with 15 minutes or just about 14 minutes to go here left in the race. Evan Hoopchak, Devin Jack, down pit road. On board now, Brandon Brush, 41. Whoa! Mark Royce, we saw on board his view of a spinning Dan Ott. Not sure what caused that, but Dan Ott went completely around Mark Royce, avoiding it. Laura Wiseman gonna go to get past the 29 now. I'm curious to see what happened. We're gonna jump back here, try to get an idea, see if he just got loose. What sent him around? Yeah, just loose, tried it, overcorrected. And look at Mark Royce just getting out of there. Sam Stoner closing the gap a little bit here on Dustin Bally. Got it back under 3 seconds. Dan Ott is looking to challenge Laura Wiseman. Back for his position. He's going to look to the inside there. And he gets side by side. And clears Laura. Gets himself back into 10th. And our leaders are going down pit road now. Johnny Rapp, Dustin Bally, Sam Stoner, and Levi Powell all coming down. Brandon Brush inherits the lead. He's going to lead a lap. And look at this group here. Evan Hoopchak, Mark Royce, Richard Lucky. All running real tight. You can see Richard Lucky looks like he has a really good set of runs here. Trying to get to the back of Devin Jack. Find the room. He's looking now. See if he can get to him. Might go for the dive bomb. No. Didn't quite have enough. Devin Jack able to hold him off there. Another corner. And I'm seeing something interesting here on the tower. It shows that Johnny Rapp and Dustin Bally both got back out. Second, third. And I'm seeing Sam Stoner all the way down in 13th. Gonna see if we can get more information on that. As we're coming with 10 minutes to go here. Brandon Brush is coming down pit road now. Johnny Raps has a 5-second lead over Dustin Bally. He's got a lot of daylight. Dustin's really gonna have to drive that thing. Try to catch up with him. Evan Hoopchak about 7 seconds back from Dustin Bally. And about 7 seconds back from him, Mark Royce. Richard Lucky and Devin Jack, that group that are all fighting hard in contention back here. Johnny Rapp regains the lead now. Dustin Bally taking second. Brandon Brush comes out on that, puts himself into third. Really, really great moves, great strategy here by the 41. Great opportunity for positioning. He's going to be 3 seconds ahead of Evan Hoopchak now. Levi Powell to the back of the 84. You talked about that 3 car being aggressive. He's in 10th now still here. Chuck Labano eyeing just behind. But that 3 wants 9th position now too. The 3 car's been very aggressive all night. Laura takes a nice wide gate there. Overshoots a little bit. Feels the pressure from the 3. 3 is going to get around. The 346 is going to follow. 84 doesn't want to end up pushing in on that. I imagine felt the pressure. Just going to slide back in here, sitting 11th. Try to make up the ground after. Dan Ott currently sitting in 8th. Eyeballing Devin Jack there. Mark Royce and Richard Lucky still linked together here, sliding around this track. Just about attached at the hip. You can see Richard Lucky going real far, driving it real hard. Trying to get the momentum, trying to get the opportunity to get around the 44. We're coming up on 7.5 minutes left in this race. You cannot be waiting for just a mistake. Mistakes, I mean, what if it doesn't happen? What if he drives a really strong race here? You've got to try to drive a bit aggressive. Try to get an interesting move. See if you can get a nose in somewhere. Just get a better drive off and send it. I anticipate we're going to see Richard Lucky go to make something here. I saw Dan Ott. Got loose again. Managed to recover it. We saw him in the background there. Just wanted to make sure he didn't end up around in the same spot. Looks like he figured out how to hold it down there. Oh, could that be the answer right there? Richard Lucky is looking to go side by side now. And he is. And he's going to get around him just like that. Mark Royce slips up. Richard Lucky gets around. The 51 advances to the 5th position. Richard Lucky, biggest mover of the night so far, up 13 positions, is the 51 car. And we look here, Evan Hoopchak has been running down 3rd place Brandon Brush. Brandon got himself into a very, very good position where he's at currently. But Evan would love to take the podium here instead. As this race draws to a close, as we're getting closer, we're going to be under 5 minutes to go here. It's going to be go time for a lot of these guys. You're going to see some desperate moves. You're going to see some desperation from some of them. It's going to end up in some loose turns. It's going to end up in some mistakes. And that could change the outcome of things quite a lot. Jump back here, Devin Jack and Dan Ott. Fighting one another back here now. Dan Ott getting to the back of the 49. The 29 there. Gonna be looking for an opening. Just under 4.5 minutes till race close, till we see the checkered flag wave. Not a lot has happened. It looks like Chris Winslow has crashed. Trying to spin himself around now here. We're on board Chris Lucky, who Sam Stoner is trailing. Back in 13th. Go back and we see the 49 and 29 still attached at the hip. On board now, the 49. Devin Jack, let's take a look at what Dan Ott sees. On board again, Dan Ott. And right now we're kind of sticking with this battle. These are the two of the closer cars currently fighting. The closer ones behind them, Levi Powell and Chuck Labano. But Dan Ott just has a little bit more of a catch on the 49. I do see Evan Hoopchak has gained a lot more on Brandon Brush. On board now, the 7. Mark Royce gonna have to try to hold steady here. He's holding himself just outside the top 5 once these 6th place points. He's 5 seconds behind Richard Lucky, who was really pulled away from him. Those guys behind him are fast, but Devin Jack and Dan Ott are very busy battling each other at this point. Whoa! Devin Jack real loose. That's gonna give the door to Dan Ott. He's gonna squeeze in tight, get side by side. He's got advantage. The better run. Dan Ott's gonna clear the 49. And now the 29 will stalk the 44 while the 49 tries to get back to where he was. Levi Powell's got Chuck Labano smelling blood in the water as well back here. Chris Lucky and Sam Stoner. Back to back. We're about to be a minute to go. Chris Logan and Chris Winslow also close. Johnny Rapp. 1 minute to go here. Johnny Rapp is leading 8 seconds ahead. On board Dustin Bawley in second place. Brandon Brush in third. Evan Hubchak is close to Brandon Brush. I know he can taste it. Brandon needs to not get desperate, not get worried here. This is going to be the white flag. It does look like the timing will work out that way. This is the final lap. Gonna try to keep a close eye on this tower to see what kind of fights we're dealing with. Who's gonna try to send it? Who's gonna try to throw a move? Chris Lucky has gone to pit road. Unexpected result there. We're gonna go with Johnny Rapp now. He's getting close. He's about to be coming up. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, what can you say? Johnny Rapp is looking like he is going to take this thing home no problem. As we stay with our leader, the 52 of Johnny Rapp, closing in on taking home a win. He has yet to get himself a win this season, and it looks like he's going to do it now. And here he goes. We're getting ready to see him as he gets ready to cross. At the checkered flag, Johnny Rapp wins at Road America. Dustin Bawley, Brandon Brush following up behind. Evan Hubchak, Richard Lucky round out your top 5. Mark Royce, Dan Ott. Looks like Devin Jack, Levi Powell, and Chuck Labano round out your top 10. And what a race by Johnny Rapp, ladies and gentlemen. He got himself there. He held strong all race long. A great spot finishing in the heat, getting himself the ability to start on that front line, and he never looked back from there. Johnny Rapp is a winner here in the Road and Plate Series Season 2 at Road America. We're going to have to go ahead and start talking to some people while they're out there looking. Let's go ahead and grab Brandon Brush, taking home third on the podium. Brandon, reading the broadcast, you got me.
Hey, yeah, I got you.
Well, that was a pretty thrilling one. A lot of people, when they look at road courses, a lot of the things you hear are about how, there's not a lot of passing. It's kind of difficult, but Road America is a place where you can go pretty fast, and there is a lot of opportunity to change hands. How'd you get yourself to where you were to get on that podium?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of spots there that you could make moves. I wanted to make passes early before the field got spread out, and then just minimize mistakes. I took a little off-roading event just to scope out the grass once, and then kind of drifted it into the carousel there. But saved it both times, and then yeah, just try to maintain a decent gap there in third, and that paid off at the end there.
Well, I mean, we did see you use a little bit there. You ended up getting some decent pitch strategy, got you out into a good position. Talk us through a little bit of that, leading there and getting out the way you did.
Yeah, I like the lap, pass, whatever mouse pits. Just keeps pit road clean, and then you don't have to worry about exiting into traffic of people that didn't pit yet if you are pitting up ahead. I was debating between 4 tires, ended up going with 2. I was just guesstimating. I have no idea these pit stop times. I put a little extra fuel in because I ran out of gas in the Mustang League race, and I don't want to run out of gas again. So I'm always gonna make sure that I got a lap or 2 left in it. So that panned out there. I think I came out with the same gap to Evan there, and then probably a little bit around where Dustin was. I don't know what happened to the guy that was in front of us, but
yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Sam Stoner. We're gonna have to ask him. He ended up way back in the field. See what happened to him, but you had Evan Hubchak doing a pretty good job of catching you. Was there ever a point where you were pretty worried he was gonna get to you?
No, I was feeling good. It seemed like I was, maybe a lap quicker there, and then yeah, I kind of got going through the carousel, and he came back within that 2 seconds, and that's kind of for me where a danger zone would be, where you really got to buckle down and focus where you're going. But I mean, with Evan, he's fast in the Mustang League. He's fast here. I've raced him there, so I know he's really good on the brakes. So I was just kind of making sure, like I said, that I was keeping a gap there. So if I did have a little slip up, wouldn't be a big issue there.
Well, it worked out for you, Brandon. Taking home 3rd place. Anybody you want to thank? Anything you want to say before we let you head out?
No, just Ryan Barnes Foundation on the side there, like always. Give him a shout out there, and that's it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Brandon Brush taking home 3rd for you tonight. We're going to go ahead and grab our winner, Johnny Rapp. He's just got there in victory lane. Catch him while we can. Johnny Rapp, the elusive man, taking home the first win of the season for him. How does it feel finally?
It's a little bittersweet, I think, but hey, I'm still here. My favorite track, so I guess I'll take it.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked to you a little bit, throughout some other opportunities here. We saw you have some bad luck starting the season, some really unfortunate situations. Unfortunately, it started to feel like this race was going to start out the same way with the way the heat started, with you and Richard Lucky getting collected there and ending up at the back. But somehow it just, you worked your way up enough to get yourself on that front line for the feature and never looked back.
Yeah, I mean, so once I got into him, I felt so bad that I just pulled off and sort of let everybody go so I could kind of regather myself, and just because it felt bad, and then I ended up being in the invert, starting second, and like I said, man, it's bittersweet. It feels like I played the system. It was not intentional, but either way, I mean, it was still a lot of fun to run. And I mean, when I was around other guys, if I wasn't wrecking them, it was some good racing. So.
Oh, for sure. And I know for sure. I mean, if you had any opportunity to pass any more people in that heat race, you would not have been hesitating at all. So, I mean, it's just a matter of the way things shook out. But I mean, that's the cool thing about what we do here at Road and Plate, right? Everybody's here to try to have fun. Things happen. you know, I mean, it was, you know, an incident on your part. I know I saw you get loose and just end up driving right into him trying to collect yourself. And I mean, by all accounts, I mean, I think you did kind of a good thing by trying to pull off and, you know, recollect, you know, and try to restart yourself from there. But I mean, by the end of it, I mean, feature wise, you just drove a really solid race.
Yeah, I mean, having a clean track definitely helped a lot. It, you know, kind of, and also, like, I don't know what it is. I'm very good at starts, and you've seen it. Well, we didn't broadcast the All-Star race, but like, I'm good at timing it and just like hitting the gas at the right time, and like, I don't know. I beat leader of the line on both starts here tonight. Like, it's not. I'm not doing anything weird. I'm just hitting the gas when it says green. But I don't know. That definitely helped me getting up front and kind of just having clean track and a little bit of a gap. I can kind of, you know, if I messed up a little bit, it wasn't a big deal because I had a little bit of a gap. But yeah,
Well, I mean, we're looking now. I mean, next week, Watkins Glen, another track I know you've said you know you're pretty decent at. How you feeling heading into it now? You got a bit of momentum.
uh, yeah. I mean, that's a track I normally do okay at. It's but the thing is, with Watkins Glen, it's not like this. Everybody's good at Watkins Glen, right? That's going to be a tight field. It's going to be more about just getting the track position and kind of holding it, not making a mistake. And uh, yeah, I mean, it should be exciting, right?
I'd hard agree. Is there anybody you want to thank? Anything else you want to say to the folks at home? We had some people cheering you on in the chat there as we got to the end. Anything you want to say before we let you go celebrate your victory?
Yeah, well, I don't know if my dad was in there, but
He
if
is.
he is,
Yes, indeed.
yeah, well, he's watching from the hospital. So
Oh, wow.
shout out to him. You know, thanks for still tuning in. And, you know, I'll be talking to you here pretty shortly to, you know, see what's going on, how you doing and everything. And, you know, obviously, Dustin and everybody helps put this league on. Everybody shows up every week, and it's a lot of fun. You for doing the broadcast. And, yeah, I mean, that's about it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, your winner here at Road America, Johnny Rapp, taking home one finally for himself this season. He's had a little bit of a stumble, but we knew he was capable of it. It was just a matter, really, of when, and it was now. We're going to go ahead and grab our second place now, see if we can get Dustin Bawley in here. Dustin, you got me.
I do, sir.
Well, man, a really interesting one, I'd say. A lot of tangles, a lot of tangos, a lot of passing. I mean, frankly, you know, there aside from some of the more obvious people knocking into people, it was just a lot of really intense racing from a lot of people.
Yeah, I fortunately I feel like I didn't see a whole lot of it. I kind of took it easy in qualifying because I saw the pace advantage that Johnny and the Luckies had, and I was just going to kind of game the system a little bit and focus on trying to get myself in a good spot for the feature, and I was going to be content kind of hanging out in midfield, and then, you know, all hell broke loose kind of in the first part of the sprint there with a couple of incidents, and I found myself in like third or fourth, which I didn't expect to be running that high. And then, you know, I had some, I can't remember if I had an off track or just had some things happen, but I ended up, you know, lower. And then the feature kind of, I think once Steve went off, then I didn't really see anybody in front of me, just Johnny the whole time. So I know that there was a lot of passing kind of behind and people moving around, but the feature, especially for me, was pretty quiet. But as a league owner, you know, there was a lot of beating and banging, and that's not necessarily the best thing because it's stuff you have to review after the race and then, you know, assign blame for things. So not looking forward to that. But yeah, no, it was a good race, good solid race on my end. I just didn't have anything for Johnny. I think if the Luckies had been in the spot, um, they would have been really good as well. I dragged Richard into the interview waiting room. I'm hoping you can grab him just to get a few words because I feel like he was the star of this race. I saw the incident where he got taken out in the sprint from Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Just unlucky on his part, but he did a really good job. And yeah, I just fortunate to end up where I did, but yeah, congrats to Johnny and for him for doing a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. I had Richard on my list anyway. He was the biggest mover of the night, 13 positions up. Always try to grab those guys if they're in here. And Sam Stoner, also want to get a talk with him about where he ended up losing some position there. But I mean, taking a look at the way things shook out, talk to me a little bit about your strategy going through this. Was it more of just trying to hold yourself and hoping Johnny slips up somewhere? I mean, what was your call on pit strategy for when he decided to come in even?
Yeah, so I mean I was trying to follow Johnny the best I could, and I honestly made a number of mistakes where I couldn't keep pace with him. I think on similar laps, if we both got the best out of it, he maybe was about 2 or 3 tenths faster on average. And so my goal was just to try and stay with him, and then hope that he would misjudge his braking. There's a lot of really sharp turns here, so there's a lot of braking zones you can easily overshoot. So my job was just to try and force him into a mistake, and it just didn't happen. He was just metronomic tonight, and it was great to watch. As far as pit strategy, so I was watching the cars behind me, because what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to pit early and then get caught behind a bunch of cars, because then I was going to lose even more time. So my strategy was going to be to pit as late as possible, and then once Johnny was pitting, I kind of looked at the situation behind me and decided that was the best time. And then Johnny got a better pit entry in than me, so I lost about a second in the pit stop to him. And then it just seemed like he was pulling away at like a second a lap after the pit stop. So just good enough for P2, but didn't have anything for Mr. Rapp tonight. He drove an awesome race and deserves all the accolades.
Absolutely. Well, there was a period right before you guys came into pit. There was a guy behind you who was slowly starting to seem like close the gap just before it. And then somehow, someway, we're going to find out how, ended up in 12th.
Yeah.
By the end of that pit cycle.
I'll let him tell. I know what happened, but I'll let him tell it from his point of view. But yeah, I'm sure he won't be happy. But another great race from Sam. I mean, the luck continues to elude him. So hopefully, one of these races this season he'll pull it off.
I believe. I mean, we're heading now to Watkins Glen. How you feeling?
We have good memories there, as you know. I've been involved in some incidents there.
Yeah.
We'll see what kind of things happen here. I'm excited. I think Johnny Rapp and the Luckies are going to be hard to beat. So we'll see if we can end up with another podium.
Absolutely. Well, Dustin, before we let you head out of here, anybody you want to thank? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for showing up every week and broadcasting for us. We love you. We appreciate everything you do. And then on my side, just my family, my wife, Rebecca, my parents, Tom and Deb, mother-in-law, Karen, if you're watching, any of my friends and family who support me, that means the world. And I'll see you guys next week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dustin Bawley, second place here at Road America. I'm going to take this opportunity now. I really want to talk to Richard Lucky here, see if I can get a little bit of his take on how this race went for him. I mean, that the way things shook out all along. Richard, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, obviously, the heat race wasn't exactly how you wanted it to go. And obviously, you're always looking for a win in the feature. But I got to say, 13 positions up, a top 5, not bad.
Yeah, I'll take it. I got kind of wrecked there in the feature too, and had to kind of reset and come charging back through. So it was an eventful race. It was fun. For the most part, it is clean. Just a couple of mistakes here and there, and yeah, just take it as it comes, I guess.
Now, obviously, we're going to talk about the incident in the heat race right around like the first lap or two there. You're leading. Johnny Rapp is really trying to send it in. He gets real loose coming around the corner, and just in an attempt to correct, it seems just drives right into the back of you, sends you around, ends up pretty much ruining your heat race. What was going through your mind at that time? What were you thinking?
Well, I know that on the outside of turn 1 and turn 2, there's really no grip, which is why I was hugging the curb the way that I was. So I kind of figured I was going to get the spot, and it kind of put him in a situation where he had to try to throttle up, and he just lost the rear, and it just turned him dead right into the left rear of my truck, and ended up taking both of us out. Worked out for him. He started the front of the feature, but either way, I think me or him were going to be the cars to beat tonight, so it was nice to see him get the win.
For certain. I mean, we've known Johnny Rapp is more than capable of getting a win. He's just had a string of bad luck. Tonight he breaks his bad luck, but at the expense of causing some bad luck along the way. But I mean, regardless, like I said, you drove up 13 positions, brought yourself back through the field following an incident in the feature race, taking in a top 5. Like I said, that's phenomenal driving. You guys were definitely the cars to beat at that point. We are heading in here to Watkins Glen. How you feeling next week?
Watkins Glen. I think everybody is like equally fast there. So, and that's not one of my best racetracks. So hopefully I can just finish in the points and run clean.
All right. Well, I mean, like I said, I thought it was an incredible race out of you. You pulled off some really fantastic strategy and great driving, getting your way back all the way up there, just watching that 51 climb. I mean, we know we can expect good stuff out of you. Anybody you want to thank? Anything else you want to say before we let you go?
I just want to thank you for doing the broadcast. You do a really good job. I watched a couple weeks ago for the first time and was really impressed, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to join the league. I'd like
Oh,
to
thank you.
Devin. Yeah, thank Devin and everybody for accepting me or Dustin and everybody accepting me to the league, and my brother for testing with me this week. And yeah, just looking forward to next week.
All right. Well, hey, congrats to you. Honestly, a top 5 is fantastic, especially the way you drove tonight. So, genuine congratulations on your finish here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do next week instead.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, Richard Lucky, and we're going to go ahead and talk to one more guy here. Kind of itching to talk to him. I knew I was going to have to, so I'm going to go ahead and try to grab Sam Stoner before he tries to wriggle out of here. Sam.
Hello.
Talk to me.
It didn't go well. I was telling the other guys I'm tired of having these interviews where they say, "What happened?" is the first question. Now I just lost focus a little bit in pit road. Got a 40-second hold, and yeah, that's all she wrote. I lost that pretty easy P3 there. Those two guys, Johnny and Dustin, were wicked quick. I mean, they were on it. They were hitting every mark, and you know, they weren't slowing down. But I was feeling pretty comfortable there in that third spot.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, there's nothing to prod at here. We're still thinking about Long Beach and how close you were, and you know, just wondering like, you're getting close. You're right there. And in this instance, we're feeling it again. And I know you're feeling it. You were right there. You had it. You just one slip up. I guess it was speeding then.
It was speeding.
And ends up catching you a penalty, holding you back. I was wondering, we saw everybody cycle off pit road, and I see that 65 still sitting there, and I'm like, oh man, what happened?
Yeah, that 40-second hold is pretty brutal.
Cycled you back to about 13th or 14th. You take home 12th here tonight. I mean, not gonna rub salt in the wound. Just really wanted to get the insight here. At that point, you know, before we got there, Dustin was in your sight the whole time. Pretty much the end. You know, you could see him, you could sniff him. At one point, pretty close to when you guys would all come down pit road, it looked like you were closing to get pretty close to just about right at the 2-second gap mark. Whereas you'd been about 3 to 3.5 at times prior to that. It looked like you were gaining a good bit on him. What did you find was the secret ingredient to keep you where you were going, but also to be gaining tenths here and there on Dustin?
These trucks, there's a lot of these turns where it sounds a lot slower than it actually is. So like that section after Canada Corner, the uphill left-hander there, you know, putting it in third. I'm not sure if he was doing that, but that's where I was getting a decent amount of time right there. The carousel, obviously, that was one you really got to nail, because that run through the kink and everything back there is super important. So I was just trying to put down those consistent laps with him. We were running within about a little within a tenth of each other, pretty much the whole time there. And I think I was about a second back on pit entry, because he broke a little early going up the pit entry road, and so I would put myself in a pretty good spot within draft and everything to keep me right on him. But no, it's just being super smooth, super light on that throttle, because these things are just, they're a handful.
I understand. I mean, like, accidents happen. A lot of things happen today. You know, Richard Lucky ended up getting spun pretty early in the race, and he managed to pull himself up to a 5th. So, I mean, we know that it's more than possible, and if anybody's a driver who could do it, you definitely could. So, I mean, it's unfortunate because it happened so late, and there's only so much ground you can make up in that time when everything was as spaced out as it was and how long you got held. But, I mean, just on to next week as always. We're going to Watkins Glen. How you feel about that?
It's always been a pretty quick track for me, and pretty much any kind of car I take there. So you know, the wind's out there, the wind's coming. I think I'm in a position for it eventually. It's just down to running a consistent race and making the right calls at the right times.
I don't think many people would disagree with that at all. That win is bound to come. It happened for Johnny Rapp tonight. We knew it was going to come for him sooner or later. I mean, the Piper's going to call for Sam Stoner here soon enough, and hopefully we don't have to say bad luck. What happened next week?
Yeah, good win to Johnny there. I always tell everyone I'm always rooting for Johnny, even when I'm racing against him. So I'm happy to see him pull it off.
All right, man. Anybody you want to thank? Anything you want to say before we let you get out of here?
Thank you to my parents, my grandpa, my family. They're always rooting for me. They watch all these things. My cousin chimed in because he tuned in for a bit. So thanks to him. Yeah, thanks to you for putting these things on, and thanks to Dustin for putting this whole thing together.
All right. Thanks, Sam. And good luck to you next week.
Thanks, sir.
Sam Stoner, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude our broadcast here in the Road and Plate series on iRacing. We wrap up here at Road America. Thrilling action, thrilling race. Your winner, though, Johnny Rapp. Finally, bringing home the big one this season. I say finally because he just knew it was coming. It only took him till week 5. He beats the bad luck, gets himself into the right position, and gets there. As you can hear, plenty of people giving support to the guy. There's good reason. He definitely worked hard and got there and managed to hold this race to himself the entire time. So congratulations, Johnny Rapp. Next week, we are at Watkins Glen. That will be next Thursday, as always, which is the 18th. We will see you here at 8 Central on the Humanoid Rogue YouTube or Twitch channels, either one. Please always be sure to drop a like. And, if you're watching now as a VOD back, comment who your favorite driver was. Tell us your favorite moments. If you like clipping things, feel free to. I think that's fun. And if you haven't yet, if you're on Twitch, click that follow button, and you can click the notification button so you can get notified every time we're going live. And if you're on YouTube, click subscribe and click the bell. You'll be notified every time we go live on there, as well as any possible uploads we end up throwing up there. But for the Road and Plate League here, Season 2, Week 5, Road America, I am signing off, your broadcaster, Rain Braun, as I tell you all, thank you so much for watching, goodbye, and good night.